Let me make this clear to people. I don't believe when I wrote Little Creatures I was doing it because I was a nursery rhyme-starved child, okay? There's a reason why I have done what I've done, and I will give account to the living God for what I've done. But the Little Creatures, Sheila, every week, multiple people are having stuff, and I'm talking Christians, okay, are having weird stuff happening. And I would say at this point, the majority is 50-50. Little creatures on one hand and UFOs and orbs on the other. People need to know that God's authority is true. When Jesus said, behold, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means harm you. He's not kidding, and neither should you be. So back to True Legends, the Holocaust of Giants. And I think I may have said this on your show, and I'm not saying this to draw attention to myself. Can you imagine 24 years ago, I'm on talk radio. A couple of the very first shows I ever did, maybe within the first month, I made this statement. Out of the blue, I said, and you'll know we're at the beginning of the tribulation when cannibalism becomes the headline of the day.
Yeah.
Now, in those days, the only cannibalism was if somebody went down in the Andes and had to eat somebody, the Donner Party or John Packer, and there were specific instances of it. Or you'd hear the stories, of cannibals in the jungle. By the way, where Tim isn't going to be allowed to go, that's the area where, it was cannibalism center. And isn't it fascinating that at the lost city of El Dorado, I'm not losing track, the lost city of El Dorado is absolutely linked, if you will, not only to golden pyramids and stuff, but also to cannibalism. When 125 people disappear without a clue, I'd say that basically the clue is they ended up on the menu. Now, if there's a reason that we're being told that, maybe cannibalism is the best way to provide food sources, and we just basically chop it up, change color and turn it into Soylent Blue instead of Soylent Green, or come up with another name. The cannibalism meme, and here's what I've got to share with everybody, was loosed in the earth because of what is being released in the earth. Sheila, let me share this with people. They can get the DVD, TrueLegendsTheSeries.com, TrueLegendsTheSeries.com. They can order the DVD or they can stream it on Vimeo, unlimited streaming, and they can do that now. The DVDs are in stock. I promise you, for those who are skeptics, who ridicule, mock, when we're interviewing 98-year-old men who are paid by the Catholic Church to dig up the bones, to crush the bones, but, oh, by the way, make sure you find all the gold, the rings, and everything else. And the giants are currently being excavated in Sardinia. And when I got film crews and they're being surveilled, you got helicopters in the sky watching your every move. Don't tell me that this stuff is nonsense. There's a new particle accelerator, and you're going to love the name of this, Synchrotron Light for experimental science and applications in the Middle East, okay? Now, I want to say this again because the acronym is SESAME. Where am I going with this? These guys know exactly what they're doing when they come up with their acronyms, okay? They know exactly what it is. You usually have a superficial meaning, but then you have if you will, a luminous telegraph, or in this day and age, email. Synchrotron Light for experimental science and applications in the Middle East. And this is basically, you're going to love this, under construction near Amman, Jordan, whose members are Bahrain, Cyprus, Egypt, Iran, Israel, Jordan, Pakistan, the PLA, and Turkey. Now, those people all hate each other's guts, but what is significant, okay, very significant, is it's close to the area of, guess where? Mount Hermon, okay? Mount Hermon is where the original 200 fallen angels landed. You can go on YouTube and look up 1001 Arabian Nights, or look at the Open Sesame cartoons.
Right.
I don't know if most people remember it, but Open Sesame, there was Ali Baba and his 40 thieves. That's the name of the individual. So he goes to a cave. In this cave are treasures beyond whatever you can imagine. And so they say, Open Sesame. And voila, all the treasures of the Cave of Treasures are opened. You even saw this genie. So what I'm saying is simply this. There is a universal consciousness. Now, let's flash forward, because when we're in the desert Southwest, Tom Horn, Timothy Alberino and I, and we're interviewing one of the most well-respected Pueblo, actually he's a Zuni elder, and he's telling us that the Giant Society, now when one of the Native American elders, Cliff, made that statement, everybody else's eyes got big. I mean, this wasn't, one of the guys there was, if you will, the governor of all the Pueblo nations. I think it's 29 guys, a very famous artist, and they all looked to him because they do respect their elders. And Cliff said, look, I'm 80 years old. I'm going to tell. What's going on is the Native Americans who belong to the secret giant society get together periodically and open the stargates, okay? And by the way, Tom was there, Tim was there, our film crews are there, so this is in the multitude of witnesses. And the giants appear before him, kind of like just the original Stargate movie, kind of in a liquid, metallic mirror type. And they tell them what's coming on the earth, almost fortune-telling, but they also tell them that they're coming back. We'll flash forward to the pilot that flew the dead giant out of Afghanistan. Multiple years later, or almost 10 years later, he's in a pub, I think in New Mexico. A Native American elder comes up. He wants to do a sing or speak over him in his tongue, and he looks at him and says to the pilot, the Native American elder says this, he says, you have seen giants. They are coming back upon the earth soon. Fast forward from there, and here's what we see. We see the same thing, and obviously, you know what our questions were. Take us to the bones. Nope. And then I asked the very important question. Why do you venerate or almost worship the very entities that are coming back because they're the ones that ate you out of existence in the first place? Let me share what happened to the Pueblo people and the Navajo and one of the smartest men in the world who happens to be a PhD, I think multiple PhD, Native American, basically said, my grandfather would have told you that the Kivas, and you heard that in Tom's presentation, that basically ritual magic was brought into the Pueblo nations, and the people, Aztec, Inca, and Maya, who fled to the north, basically taught them ritual magic. They opened up the Kivas, which we'll call them what they are, stargates, and out of this came the giant cannibals that destroyed their civilization. So when we spend time at Chaco Canyon, Sand Canyon, we're at Mesa Verde talking about all this stuff, I can tell you one thing, this is not the national park. It took unimpeachable evidence to even get the National Park Service to admit there was cannibalism in the desert Southwest. Well, guess what? While we're doing our stuff in Sardinia, Tim finds an obscure manuscript, Timothy Alberino, talking about an inscription that's on a North African town about the giants fleeing from Joshua the usurper. In essence, it absolutely validates the fact in Numbers 13, 32, and 33, there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak. We were as grasshoppers in their eyes, and so we were in theirs. And so the thing that's fascinating is that, get this, from Sardinia, if you want to say this, Sardinia was a launch pad for the giants to go everywhere and anywhere on the planet. The Canaanites, were obviously into child sacrifice, burning their children in the arms of Moloch, slaughtering innocent babies, cutting their throats, and literally the Philistines, we have actual drawings. It shows a giant Canaanite on a ship headed west with the little guys rowing.